On the night of September 11, 2001, a young African-American sculptor, Michael Richards, decided to spend the night in his studio at New York's World Trade Center as part of his Lower Manhattan Cultural Council residency. When a hijacked plane crashed into the 92nd floor of the North Tower, Richards was among the many people killed. One of his last works was a sculpture he made of himself, his body being pierced by dozens of small planes. For almost 2 decades after the Richards' death, his artwork, including the now famous sculpture, were locked up in his cousin's garage in upstate New York. They would have still been there, undiscovered, had it not been for 2 young New York curators who wanted to see more of the late artist's work.
The garage where we visited in upstate New York, where Dawn had held the work in her home, had almost a full car garage of boxes. They had been unopened since 2001.
Upon understanding a little bit about the work, we were interested. And then as we opened the garage and started unpacking the artworks, including seeing one of his best known sculptures, we just immediately understood the power and necessity and importance of this work.
That's how Alex Fiallo and Melissa Levin discovered the sculpture. Today, the plane-pierced sculpture is at the Museum of Contemporary Art in North Miami.
Throughout the 1990s. And in that context, he was thinking about flight and aviation as metaphors for uplift and downfall, specifically in the context of the ongoing oppression of Black people in the United States and internationally. Specifically, he had a reference to the Tuskegee Airmen in many of his sculptures, who were the first Black and African-American pilots in United States military history.
That's where the planes in the Prophetic sculpture came from. But many believe there's more to this artwork than what meets the eye.
There is often a sense that artists have a certain sensitivity and ability to observe, perceive, and interpret things that are happening in our world. They may be ahead of their time and uncanny to also acknowledge the knowingness of the flight and pilot and airplane imagery that is present throughout the sculptures and the drawings.
The first retrospective exhibit dedicated to Michael Richards, who was of Jamaican and Costa Rican descent, opened in Miami, Florida, the city where the sculptor spent the last 3 winters of his life.
Planes have always been a big part of my life.
A fateful and fatal part, too. For Elena Wolf in New York and Miami, Anna Rice, VOA News.